Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'm Chris Kay, CEO at SQL Data Systems. With me, I have Jeremy Lowell, CTO over at Fortified Data. We're going to be talking about data-driven decisions and telling the story with your data. As the CEO of a technology company, I know how important it is to have the right data to make a decision, even for me internally. For you as the customer, it's important that we remove all the emotion out of the equation so that when we do come up with a solution and you're presenting this to the team, that it's based on accurate information. We have quite a few tools that we use to get this information for our customers and put it all together and really tell that story to the team members and the appropriate executives in order to get the point across. So some of the tools we have are the typical ones you'll see, right? So application monitoring. One of the most important things that we talk to our customers about when you're looking at either implementing a new application, upgrading the application, building something new, is really kind of getting that baseline of where are we at today and where are we going. I can tell you time and time again, we worked with customers over the years that really didn't have a good idea of where things stood prior to a major change, whether it was an upgrade to the actual software, hardware, changing the network to storage. And what happens is we'll go in and implement this new technology and we hear people say it's slower, or I thought it was going to do this. And there really is no hard data to compare it to. So establishing that baseline has become critical on every project that we take on, just so we all know where we're at, we level set. With the application profiling, right? So what is the problem that we're trying to solve? So that's a common question with, we go in and we'll say, well, what is the goal? What are your business objectives? And what are we actually trying to do? Because that can actually take us down many different roads in terms of what are we going to fix? What are we going to upgrade? What part of the environment are we going to change? There's a couple ways you can do it, right? You can roll your own. If you've got in-house tools or developers, it does take a lot of time to get that rolled out. Most of our customers don't have that expertise. So we've actually got a ton of our own internal scripts and tools that we have built that we utilize and Fortified as well that they use. And then there are a lot of packages out there. You can buy off the shelf tools. They obviously have a cost that comes with them, but it's understanding understand what you're trying to solve, right? So you have so many different options. You got to make sure you don't just throw everything at the kitchen sink at it trying to solve that problem. And I'll let Jeremy kind of talk about how you can actually communicate this to executives and put it in pictures that they can understand really well.
Thanks, Chris. That's interesting. You used the word pictures. I've got a couple of pictures there in the upper right-hand corner, and that top right picture is actually kind of an exploded set of the bottom right picture. And had a client with a specific issue, and I was trying to explain what the problem was, and there was a VP, a very, very bright guy, kind of standing over my shoulder, and he said, "Oh, that looks like a top hat." And so forevermore, that performance scenario that we were trying to solve became known as the top hat. And that's really important, right? Knowing how to communicate and giving your audience relevant data is critical when you're working with a client or trying to solve a problem. And too often I see with technical people, myself included, I love that perfmon graph in the upper right-hand corner. I can dig into that. I can, it makes a world of sense to me. But if I take that picture and I send it to a client or I send it to an executive, it's a meaningless piece of data. It does not tell a story. It is not a pretty picture. It looks like one of my daughter's drawings when she was 5 years old. Love my daughter. I framed it, but it's not going to tell, a relevant story to someone else. So that pretty picture really is worth 1,000 words. And, when you've got all these tools Chris just talked about, you've got all of this data, understanding what the problem statement is you're trying to solve is really critical. Being able to put that down on paper so that other people can see what the problem statement is, and then put the pretty picture and the content into context. And then with that, once you've got that problem statement identified and you start working on the solution or the proposed solutions, providing an ROI as part of that is very valuable to the executives you're trying to explain or prove what a potential solution could be like. And rather than point out, hey, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem, say, hey, here's a solution for this problem. And I realize that might sound like it's splitting hairs, but that's really important. how often did your mom tell you if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all? It kind of is in that same vein, right? That it's much better to say, hey, here's how I can fix something, not, hey, here's something that needs to be fixed. And again, it's taking that emotion out of it, basing your decisions on data, and then coming up with a solution. And again, that picture, pretty pictures, ROI, and writing down the problem statement and the solution are really keys that we've seen over the years to being successful with communicating. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'd like to thank you all for watching our video today. Again, thanks to Jeremy for joining us and providing his insight. We're going to put some links in the description below, and they'll build on the concepts we talked about. Thanks again.